Here it is. The Tragic Mulatto on Twitter said the Radio Emmy for best coverage of the Matt Gaetz sex scandal goes to Stephanie Miller and Chris LeBoy and Sean Comiskey of the Stephanie Miller Show. Thank you. Not the best, but the most immature. We appreciate it. You know why Hal Sparks is, my professional lover for years and years. Sexy liberal. OG sexy liberal. Because he's just as immature as I am. The tweet that made me laugh the hardest is a picture of Trump dancing, how he does that thing with both hands like this.
Yeah.
And Hal just tweeted, job, squirt, squirt, squirt.
You mean Handy J?
Right, Handy J, squirt, squirt. That's all he tweeted. And I laughed for the rest of the day about that. You can see more of that in the Sexy Liberal 10-year anniversary special. By the way, lots of all new material. We're very excited. All new material. A cavalcade, I have to say, of stars that will be hard to ever assemble again. That there will be in the 10-year. It's very exciting. Go to sexyliberal.com. Wow. It's only $15 for all that. For God's sakes, you'll be sorry when virtual is over and we're back to the $1 zillion live tour tickets. People, $15 for your whole family. Poke you right in the eye.
I don't think they cost $1 zillion.
$1 jillion. Well, they are when we tour again because there'll be backed up demand. $1 jillion for you. Okay. But the virtual is brilliant. All my sexy liberals are brilliant in this format. Okay. Karen, speaking of sexy liberals, Karen in Chicago, hi.
Hi, good morning. I got my tickets. I can't wait.
Yay!
Squee!
I cannot wait. This whole thing with Matt Gaetz is just unbelievable. I don't understand, you're right. It's like there's two separate issues here, and it's like, and I don't even understand the second one.
It could be complete horse. We should always keep that in mind when it's Matt Gaetz.
It's just like, it's unbelievable, and I just think it's like, I was laughing my butt off yesterday, and I just think that it's just going to be more and more is going to keep coming out about him and Jim Jordan. I just think it's like, because these people are criminals. They cannot help it. And
don't you feel like he probably said to Jim Jordan, no, not you. Don't say, oh, shoot. Jim Jordan was like, I believe Matt Gaetz. Oh, okay. Well, then consider us convinced. And then Marjorie Taylor, QAnon Betty, called it, of course, a witch hunt. She said, remember all the conspiracy theories and lies like Trump-Russia collusion, except that wasn't a lie or a conspiracy theory, but okay.
Right.
And the media spread around. Take it from me. Rumors and headlines don't equal truth. I stand with Matt Gaetz. Okay.
Yes, and I also know that you also stand with the insurrectionists. So, good to know. And I can't wait for this stuff with the Capitol Police to come out, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, love you guys.
I know. I love you, Mawa. Good morning, dear.
Oh, cut!
We have a lot to celebrate this week.
You have the right to remain tripping your balls.
It's like Illuminati, but with leather.
First day at Fight Club, you must fight!
2020 refuses to concede.
I was going to have to return 2021 because I didn't like the 7-day trial. But I'm in now. We're in, sexy liberals.
I love these slow news days, especially.
Yeah, right.
I record a podcast on Tuesdays. It's called The Bob Cesca Show. It's on the Sexy Liberal Podcast Network. I record the show on Tuesday, and then it becomes completely out of date seconds later when two gigantic stories happen.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful to the news cycle. Thank you, news cycle.
I should tell you, we are recording this, and I am wearing an FBI wire, and I do have pictures of you with underage action hero toys. Okay.
Oh my God, this story. I don't know where to begin with this. This other guy, is it Jim Greenberg?
Yes. Oh,
Yes.
oh
was
wait,
the
let's get
original-
into that. Yeah, 'cause we were just in the weirdness of the
Okay.
Tucker interview, but please do. Let's go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, we want to talk about. Okay, we're talking
Yes.
about Matt Gaetz and Jim. Is it Jim
Jim, yes.
Greenberg? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Good.
I believe so. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Wait, we
I've
like
seen this guy.
Okay,
I've seen this guy in pictures with Roger Stone for a couple of years now. I remember distinctly seeing his face, like smoking cigars in videos with Roger Stone.
Yes, let's.
Yeah.
Can I have some fun facts music? Some breezy informational music, just to set up, Bob, so people don't know. So, hello, good morning. Matt Gaetz is being investigated for human trafficking with a 17-year. That means you took a 17-year-old over, state lines for the purposes of, wow, chicka wow.
Sex.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, it's not clear how Gaetz met the girl who was believed to be 17 at the time of the encounters. The investigation opened in the final months of the Trump administration. Wow, that blows that whole witch hunt thing, doesn't it? It's part of a broader investigation, as Bob alluded to, into a political ally of his, a local official in Florida named Joel Greenberg. We got the name wrong.
Joel.
Joel Greenberg, who was indicted last summer on an array of charges, including, weirdly, sex trafficking of a child. And financially supporting people in exchange for sex, at least one of whom was an underage girl. He visited the White House with Mr. Gaetz. Greenberg did in 2019, according to photographs. And then, as you alluded to, there are lots of pictures of him with Roger Stone, which is weird.
Yes.
Greenberg maintained ties to controversial figures who supported Trump, a website run by a Proud Boy member. They had a network of fake social media accounts linked to Roger Stone, have promoted false accusations against Mr. Greenberg's rivals in Florida. Good God. And then there's that selfie of Gaetz and Stone and, Greenberg. And he said in it, great catching up. You fill in what they were catching up on. But okay. The following year, Gaetz expressed support for Greenberg's successful bid for local office, predicting he would someday make a great early on, Bob, Gaetz said, the investigation, yes, I know it has to do with women. It's kind of weird that he made a point of going, it's about women.
It's not necessary.
I have a suspicion that someone is trying to recategorize my generosity to ex-girlfriends as something more untoward. Clutch the pearls. All right, Bob. So go ahead. We just set up who that is, Greenberg, but go ahead.
Okay, well, first of all, it's very clear now why Matt Gaetz was never hired by the Trump White House. You notice that Trump was poaching some of those guys, trying to find desperately someone who was at some point a lawyer to work at the White House. I mean, you had Mark Meadows going over there. I'm not sure if they were ever considering Devin Nunes or Jim Jordan, but Matt Gaetz was another guy who did a lot of grunt work for Donald Trump on the Hill.
He did just teach a master class in how not to be a lawyer if you're in the middle of a federal investigation. But go ahead.
Yes, that's exactly right. And so, it's no wonder that because I'm sure the vetting turned up something weird along those lines. I'm just speculating here.
Someone in the meeting, excuse me, not that guy, Mr. President, not that guy.
Also,
someone at the back of the room wildly, like, no, not that guy.
Do not hire Matt Gaetz. My God. And I'm surprised Trump didn't do it anyway, because anytime you tell Trump not to do something, he automatically wants to do it. He's like a child.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I keep thinking about with this story, especially when you loop in Greenberg as well, is I've just been watching that HBO documentary about Q.
I was just going to ask you. You tweeted all about that, and Bob, I was just going to ask you all about that, because how weird is it? It's always what they accuse others of. I mean, what's her name? Sean Ghislaine Maxwell.
Oh yeah, I mean it's incredible.
She was just charged with more counts now of sex trafficking. I mean, the whole time weren't you like, wait, Democrats are the pedophile? Donald Trump is friends with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and now Matt Gaetz, and I'm like, what do you? Roy Moore, they're the pedophiles, right? It's mind blowing that you're like that. This whole Q thing is based on that it's Democrats that are pedophiles, right?
Yeah, it's basically a cabal. Q is calling out, or the Q collective and so on. They're calling out the existence of satanic pedophiles among the intelligentsia, the glitterati of this country, the politicians, celebrities, and so on. And that's the entire central thrust. It's, first of all, they believe that there is a demon that lives under the earth, and his name is Satan, and he helps celebrities drink baby blood.
Eat babies, right? No, thank you for watching this so we didn't have to, because I was...
Right.
Because...
No desire.
Right, in the story, Trump is the one that's going to save the world from this. I'm like, he's been accused of rape by an underage girl. He was at Epstein's house, like, going, wait a minute, what? How did this whole... Okay, that part I don't get.
But see, that's part of the deep state. The accusation, the switcheroo, is that the deep state is saying that it's like this whole thing where they're blaming Trump and they're blaming people like Greenberg and Gates and so on, and Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell and all these people. But it's actually the Democrats, and so that's the conspiracy. It's the switcheroo. You got to pay attention, as Q always says. Q always says, pay attention.
But the larger point, Bob, for our politics that you made on Twitter, you said we started watching the Q documentary on HBO. So many wildly impressionable and obsessive suckers drawn in by an obvious stunt. It's a disturbing example of American gullibility. No wonder Russia and other hostile operatives see the U.S. as populated by easily influenced dupes. And that goes right to all of our collective health right now with the vaccine. That Russia is heavenly in all these insane vaccine conspiracy theories that is, I mean, Bob, it is to be trapped in this, like we're trapped in this ride, right, with these other people, that we are getting. The vaccine news is so amazing, including the new Pfizer news Chris was just talking about this morning about, working on teenagers. I mean, we could really be back to normal in record time if people would just wear a mask and distance for a little while longer. We have to, I mean...
Good morning, Charlie Pierce.
Morning, Jody Hamilton.
Okay, good morning, Charlie. Hi, I'm here too.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Can I say you had my favorite?
I was keeping updated every day of your vacation on how far you'd ridden your bike.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I liked the day you went to Neptune. I thought that was really nice.
That was fun. Yeah, that was fun. Listen, you had my favorite.
Oh, by the way, before we get into anything,
yes,
Thursday is also my second dolly shot.
Oh, hooray!
Hey.
My first.
It's vaccination week among the mooks.
Yeah, my first dolly shot is Friday. Very exciting. Very exciting. Yay!
And Jody's getting one on Thursday, I hear.
Yes.
Yes.
Which, do you know what you're getting? Did you say Pfizer? Yeah.
No, I'm a dolly shot.
No,
guy.
I'm asking Jody. Jody?
No, I believe I'm Moderna because when they scheduled my second shot, it's 28 days later, so that would be Moderna.
How much later is Pfizer?
21 days.
Oh, okay. All right. I did not know. Okay. You had my favorite reaction to Lindsey Graham's tough guy with an AR-15 rant. You said Rambo 6 fainting couch. That's fantastic.
I couldn't believe that. First of all, have you ever seen a picture of Lindsey Graham's house?
Oh, God.
He lives out in the middle of the freaking woods. I mean, who's he defending himself against? Squirrels?
He's so ridiculous.
Raccoons.
He's just so ridiculous. Speaking of which, you tweeted watching Dr. Deborah Birx's bombshell interview on CNN brought an enormous temptation toward ungovernable rage. I had the same reaction. It was.
I knew I had to watch it for work.
Yes.
Because
you
want to comment on it, you have to watch it. But I'm sitting there like chewing on my own arm.
Yeah.
Thinking, Hippocrates is going to come back and like light you on fire, lady.
Yes.
You took an oath before you went to work for the government.
Yeah.
And it's it's like 4,000 years old. It's a very important oath.
Yeah. I kept saying, Charlie, obviously Trump is the major villain in all this, but you don't had. We played this vomitously sycophant soundbite that everybody remembers about his talking about Trump's keen understanding of the data and blah blah and the granular. Do you think he even knows what granular means?
Yeah, I was going to say he thinks granular is what you have for like breakfast.
Yes,
if you need to like cleanse yourself.
It's not a whole grain, is it? I don't eat those.
Which I suspect he does at least once a week, just for
Yeah,
so
but
he
I was
doesn't
saying, and there
explode.
certainly was a way to diplomatically, as a doctor, say, no, sir, you don't shove a UV light up your ass or drink bleach. Like, seriously.
And telling people to shoot up bleach is not a public health priority right now, sir.
Oh, all of these. By the way, speaking of Lindsey, I just forgot on your Lindsey Graham thing. Someone tweeted yesterday, had to remind me, Chris, when we were talking about this, and him saying, well, I count me if it's about mental illness, then count me in. But I'm just young, I'll take my AR-15. And someone said, didn't Lindsey and the Republicans actually lift the ban on selling guns to the mentally ill early in the Trump administration?
Computer says yes.
Yes. They let the Obama rule expire, letting mentally ill people get guns. So they're
That's
right.
That's Lindsey took advantage of that loophole, obviously.
I mean, Charlie, we obviously all these stories getting interconnected about voting in, Georgia and et cetera. And so everybody was doing this tweet proposal. You can only purchase a gun one time every 2 years. It can only be on a Tuesday in November. You must go and wait in line. There's only one place in your county. You must have multiple forms of ID. No one can give you water while you wait. I mean, it is just so absurd, right? How much easier it is to get a gun than to vote. And
Sure. I mean, that was the case in Texas, where you could use your gun owner's ID, but not your college ID to vote.
Yeah.
As legitimate, ID cards.
Yeah, because students tend to vote Democratic.
These are articles of faith now, and they're not even being shy about it anymore.
No. Not at all. I mean, and you wrote a piece about Jane Mayer's. This is pretty extraordinary, hearing the conference call between Mitch McConnell and this Koch Industries, whatever. So they did a poll. This is from the New Yorker, as you quote, the speakers on the call expressed alarm at the broad popularity of this is the Democrats' voting bill. Bill's provision calling for more public disclosure about secret political donors. The participants conceded that the bill, which would stem the flow of dark money from such political donors as Koch, was so popular that it wasn't worth trying to mount a public advocacy campaign to shift opinion. Instead, a senior Koch operative said opponents would be better off ignoring the will of American voters and trying to kill the bill in Congress. Well, this is the same play Republicans run every time. And you're right, Charlie, It's all out in the open now, right?
And when they talk about the Congress, they're clearly talking about the Senate.
Right.
Because they can't do anything about the House.
Right.
There's no filibuster in the House. They can't block anything while they're in the minority in the House.
Charlie,
assuming that Nancy continues to keep her caucus in line.
Do you think they will at least try to do a one-time thing for voting rights? Because I just think there's no, I mean, David Plouffe, people that are not really given to hyperbole. Did you hear what he said? The Georgia voting restrictions mean that if Georgia does not like the results of an election, they can throw the election out, not certify. Georgia is only the beginning. If we do not pass H.R. 1, democracy can very well be over. I just feel like if they don't pass voting rights, none of these other issues will matter.
The only thing that makes me feel optimistic is I really do get the sense that people realize they've pushed this too far.
Yeah.
The not being able to give water and food to people in line. People may not understand the role of federalism in running elections, but they understand that. They understand standing in line. They understand being thirsty.
Yes.
Well, I mean,
in the middle of a public health pandemic.
Everybody's talking about the Onion headline said, George is going to make sure voters stay hydrated with fire hoses. I mean, that's how blatant the racism.
Like that.
But that's how blatant the racism is, right?
Good morning, dear.
Oh, cut!
We have a lot to celebrate this week.
You have the right to remain tripping your balls.
It's like Illuminati, but with leather.
First day at Fight Club, you must fight!
2020 refuses to concede.
I was going to have to return 2021 because I didn't like the 7-day trial. But I'm in now. We're in, sexy liberals.
Hi, Eric. Well, you know what? It's not good for my mental health to take a 1-week vacation from you. Can I just say that? I mean, between your latest piece this morning and, the CNN special on the COVID doctors, I mean, once again, Eric, the question is not, does Trump deserve credit? Does Trump deserve prison? And how soon? Right? I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, so there was a paper, academic paper released last week by the Brookings Institute, and it estimated, if we had done the common sense thing, if we had a mask mandate, if we had socially distanced, if we had coherent leadership, we would have saved 400,000 lives. And that, the pandemic in the U.S. will probably top out at about 670,000 deaths, and we could have kept it under 300,000 deaths. And that report I found one news story, and that was a Reuters piece. And the press just is not interested in accurately depicting Trump as this stone cold COVID killer. I mean, he killed hundreds and thousands of Americans. Yeah. We used to say indirectly. I think it's directly at this point. I think what Fox News has done. Instead, we saw this bizarre media push in February and March that Biden's got to credit Trump because he did such an amazing job getting this vaccine ready, and he just handed over this turnkey operation, and all Biden had to do was take the victory lap. I mean, it's amazing, and now we have the statistics and the real facts about what Trump did. But I think they're anxious for him to come back on the national stage, and they want to keep portraying him as kind of an eccentric mainstream political player, not someone who filled up graveyards.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you watched the same special I did, and the headline, Dr. Deborah Birx believed the U.S. could have avoided hundreds of thousands of coronavirus deaths. You're like, doesn't everybody? It's, but I mean, again, the media tries to rehabilitate these people's images rather than saying, I'm sorry, you are complicit in all these deaths. I mean, you just
that CNN special last night. Look, I'm glad they did it, but and they sat down with all these Trump people and tried to put them on the record, but they should have just eviscerated. I mean, these people should have left those interviews in tears. If it was a legitimate interview, what those people did to this country. Birx now saying, oh well, a couple hundred. Where was she? What was she doing for 10 months last year? Oh, I got a mean phone call from Trump after I went on CNN and told the truth. Okay, well, what'd you do the next day and the next 6 months? Did you quit? Did you tell everyone there's a madman in the White House? No, you just played along. So that CNN special could have been so much harder and so much more devastating, and really could have put in stark contrast. Look, it's manslaughter, it's genocide, call it what you want, but we need to talk about what Trump did during the pandemic.
I always say, I think the key moment, Eric, is that shove a UV light up your ass, drink bleach press conference where he's looking at her and asking her, and I'm just saying, Eric, there is a way to diplomatically say, excuse me, Mr. President, you're misunderstanding the science. Let me just, blah, blah, blah. However, just sit there. How many people died because of that? How many people ingested bleach and UV light and God knows what? I mean, first do no harm. It's the oath literally a doctor takes, right?
We'll never look, and it wasn't just the pandemic. We will never know why so many grown men and women inside the Beltway laid down for that guy, whether they were in the military, whether they're in the DOJ, whether they're trying to run a pandemic, and he was the least popular president in half a century. And these people just forfeited their reputations. Just to cling to a title, to cling to access. We'll never understand it. And it damaged the country, and then it started to kill the country when we got to the pandemic. But my point is, my God, the press the last few weeks saying Biden has to credit this criminal for the vaccine. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yep. Malcolm, great stuff.
Let's just devote the whole segment to Matt Gaetz. What the actual go Malcolm Nance. Oh my God.
Since we're harking back to the banana splits, my favorite sub show in there was where Matt Gaetz is right now, Danger Island.
Yeah.
What
I'm sorry.
is going on?
For him. I like his excuse that he was helping the FBI track down extortionists.
Mm-hmm.
And I just read on Twitter who the ex-Department of Justice official he was talking about. And all of this supposedly took place during the Trump administration.
Thank you.
And was started by the Trump administration.
Well, Malcolm, we've talked so much about...
He got some explaining to do.
Well, right, Malcolm, we've talked so much with you about Compromat and, the stuff that Russia has, and they hacked the RNC and the DNC and yada, yada. But what do you make of all this? That this is the Trump administration? Is this something, because you go, why did they all ask as such disgusting toadies for Trump? Does he have something on them? I mean, what do you make of this whole Gaetz situation?
Well, first, as I said, he has a lot of explaining to do, and the first person he needs to do it to is Nestor. But
yeah,
I have to tell you something, because I am writing this book about right-wing extremism. And as we see Department of Justice indictments going out that have all these higher level sedition charges, that clearly shows that they are saving charges to point up the chain of command. And several of these, most notably the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys, appear to be pointing towards Roger Stone.
Yeah.
Because Roger Stone, Brooks Brother riot in the 1990 election. What was that? I can't remember. Was it not? No, it wasn't 90. The 2000 election with Al Gore. And we're wondering whether Roger Stone helped coordinate a national level Brooks Brother riot against American democracy.
Yeah.
Now, why am I mentioning this?
Well, he's involved in the Matt Gaetz story too through this Greenberg, right?
Roger Stone was implicated in this story. Greenberg apparently was, this horn dog who was using his position to extort money out of people, to abuse money inside of his office. My favorite part: tax collectors open carrying firearms, but it apparently also involved. This potentially sex trafficking. Roger Stone has a long, dirty history of himself involved in the swingers movement. This is insane, basic facts about Roger Stone. I don't want to hurt anybody's eyes or ears, but there are some really horrible pictures of him on the internet. In chaps.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Please.
All of this.
Oh God.
I just had oatmeal. Please.
There's some South Florida, as they say in French, échangiste cabal going on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. All I know is that each one of these players, set aside the sex part in Greenberg, were also involved in the attack, in this movement designed to attack democracy.
Yeah. You're right. I think there are a lot of shoes to drop here. Speaking of the Capitol, riot that Stone is also connected to, two U.S. Capitol Police veterans who were on duty during this January 6th riot sued Donald Trump yesterday, accusing him of inciting the violent mob that injured scores of officers. Damn, he has a lot of legal trouble coming his way, because they obviously did have injuries. So that's another serious legal, they have serious legal standing, right?
Right. There were, I believe the final number was there were 125 officers injured. during the riot. And if you can get 2, just imagine if 10 or 15 more sign on to that.
Right.
There's not a law firm in the United States that won't take that case. They will sue Donald Trump personally.